Welcome. I am Ernie Goss, research economist with AIM of Missouri. I'm coming to you from Kansas City today to talk about our workforce index for the month of September. Of course, this is the second Tuesday of the month of October. We report our workforce index the second Tuesday of every month. And again, I'm reporting today on the index for the month of September. Now, this workforce index is a measure of the number of online job openings divided by the number of unemployed. So obviously, the higher that number is, the better. In other words, the number of job openings, that moves upward, or the number of unemployed moves down, that index goes up. That's good. Well, the index ranges between 0 and 100. Anything above 50 is growth positive. Below 50 is growth negative. At 50 is growth neutral. So, what was the number for the month of September? Well, September, the index was up to 54.6. Now, that may not sound very strong to you, but that's not bad. In fact, it's up from 49.2 last month. 49.2, I'll agree with you. That wasn't that strong. Now, the rank, where does Missouri rank among the 50 states and the District of Columbia? The state moved from 35th to 26th. That's moving in the right direction. 35th best to 26th best. Now, obviously, if you're from Missouri, or is it Missouri or Missouri? Well, I'm not from Missouri, so I'll say Missouri. So it moved from, again, that movement was pretty good, and it's job market strengthening. I think that's certainly a good signal. Now, where are the jobs? Now, where are the jobs? The absolute number of job openings. In other words, not looking at unemployed, just where are those job openings? Number 1, management. Number 2, sales. Number 3, customer services. Now, if we look at the number of online job openings divided by the number of workers that are employed in that particular area. Where are the job openings? And number 1 is finance. Finance has been growing. Of course, that's true for most states in the U.S. We're seeing that in the U.S. We're seeing it across the nation. Number 2, engineering. Now, that's real good. Of course, again, not to offend my engineering friends, but that's sort of the guts of the economy. When they are working, the rest of us are working, and that's a real good signal. Now, for Missouri, again, for the month of September, automobile services, anything to do with vehicle manufacturing, really strong. Automobile services, now that would be, of course, some of that is not what we think of as real positive, but it's a lot of jobs there. In other words, as GM has recalls, and they have had recalls, as we know, that provides workers who have to do the work on those recalled GM vehicles. So that's been real strong. Of course, anything to do with automobile in the state. An automobile is very important, vehicle manufacturing, for the state of Missouri. Now, here we go. Here you see the history for Missouri over the last several months, and it's been an up and down, not so much of a roller coaster, but not as strong as we'd like to see. We'll see. I think we're going to see that improve in the weeks and months ahead for the state. Now, where are the top states for the month of September in the U.S.? No surprise to anybody out there. North Dakota, number 1. Number 2, Minnesota, somewhat surprising. But there you're talking about some factors like tourism, which has been strong for Minnesota. Also, anything to do with vehicle manufacturing. I should say vehicle manufacturing, but automobile parts manufacturing. So that's been there. Number 3, Nebraska. I expect Nebraska to move down in ranking just because farm income is moving lower, and Nebraska depends very heavily on agriculture and farm income. Kansas, number 4. Kansas has been improving solidly with job openings, online job openings, very strong relative to unemployment. Number 5, Iowa. So those are the states, and as you can probably tell, these states are mostly in this part of the country those that depend on agriculture. Now again, agriculture is weakening, so it's not going to hold up that strong for long. The bottom states, no surprise here, the 50th state, the state with the worst situation in terms of online job openings relative to the unemployment, number of unemployed, Maine. Number 49, California, not good. 48, West Virginia. 47, Rhode Island, and bringing up the bottom of the bottom five, I should say, New York. Of course, not as strong. These are not the states where you want to go looking for a job relative to some of these other states. Now, what should you be watching out for over the next month from an economic standpoint? Watch for the Case-Shiller Home Price Index, which is for the month of August, will come out the last Tuesday of October. That's the last Tuesday of October for the month of August. That number is weakening, and if it weakens too much, as other housing factors have weakened, that's somewhat troubling. Now, I've said before I wanted to see it weaken. It's weakening a little more than I'd like to see. Jobs added. Now, there'll be jobs added for the month of October coming out on November the 7th. But in that economic report on the first Friday of the month of November, that's November the 7th, watch that employment number, which above 200,000 jobs added is very bullish, very strong. Below 100,000, weak, and that's obviously bearish. Between 100 and 200,000, I'll call that neutral. But another thing to come out of this employment report for the month of October, released on November the 7th, would be the wage growth. How much wage growth was there over year? And it's not been strong enough, 2%. Now, you don't need an economist to tell you that's about what the inflation rate is. So in terms of your standard of living, that's not good if you grew on average what the overall wage rate grew at. So we need to see 3 to 4 and even 5%. It's likely to come in about 2% again. That would be, in my judgment, a bit on the bearish side. Look at GDP growth for the third quarter. Very important. It comes out, I'm sorry, that's for this, yeah, for the third quarter. That would be coming out on October the 30th. Keep an eye on that number. It's likely to come in at 2%. Now, we grew in the first half of 2014 at a spectacular 1.5%. Obviously not spectacular. It should be, we should be at 4-5% given the slack we've got in this economy. So we need to see that number improving. It's probably going to come in at 2%. Sort of it needs to be stronger. That's bearish in my judgment. What are the risk factors that could throw a monkey wrench in any of this? Look for the housing market if it could weaken significantly. That would be a monkey wrench, and that's something we have to keep an eye on. The Census Bureau, when they release their housing numbers, and the Case-Shiller Home Price Index. Trade embargoes, very important, not so much because Russia retaliates and we retaliate against Russia. It's when it spills over into Europe, when it spills over into South America. That's when it becomes an issue, and that's what my concern would be if we saw those spill over. Keep an eye on Europe if it weakens, and that would be Germany primarily. Germany has been the bellwether, at least the strength of the European economy. It has weakened a bit. We could see the overall European economy move back into recession territory. Not good for us, and we sell goods there. They buy our goods. Keep an eye on this dollar. When the dollar strengthens, that makes Missouri products less competitively priced abroad. You notice I'm having a problem now with Missouri versus Missouri. But you know what I'm talking about, though. If the dollar strengthens, that makes U.S. products sold in Europe and sold throughout the world much less competitively priced. So keep an eye on that one. Keep an eye on that going forward. Farm income. Farm income, while it's not a significant part of the state economy, it's still a very important part of the state economy. And certainly with the neighbors such as Kansas, where it is more important, that has some impacts. The unemployment rate, the U.S. unemployment rate, I think is going to continue to move down, But the participation rate, the population available for work, and working and are working, that percentage is moving down to record. It is at the lowest rate it's been since President Jimmy Carter was in office. If that moves even lower, that's troubling, of course. Watch the Fed. Now, not because it's really that meaningful. I think this is all about chatter. Now, not to say they're chattering, but I think we need to watch more of the fundamentals. You notice the Fed this month, October, they're out of the QE3 game. In other words, they're no longer buying additional bonds, U.S. Treasury bonds, and nothing's happening. So the Fed their importance is overstated, but unfortunately it does have an impact on the market. It does send signals to all of us. So unfortunately, you do have to keep an eye on economists like Janet Yellen, who's the head of the Federal Reserve, and other members of the Open Market Committee, the other Federal Reserve presidents, the presidents of the Kansas City Federal Reserve, for example. Just watch what she has to say about the economy. It does tend to have some importance, though I think we put too much importance on it. But that said, that's our economic report here for the month of September, coming to you here on the second Tuesday of the month of October. Until we meet again on the second Tuesday of November, may your economic cup runneth over and you make a lot of money fast. Thank you.